An old medicine cabinet, newly stocked with Druamine. Take it. We've got... nice. Okay, take it all. Newly stocked, so someone's been here then. There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double embrasures, firing slits, like two eyes in the wall. This looks like a good place to aim from. Lieutenant looks around. He steps closer with his hand on his gun. Inspect the mattress. A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand name Marjorie. There's a fuel stain on the cover, along with cigarette stains. Are we sure that's a fuel stain? Let's not look any closer. An empty can of beans on the ground next to it, filled to the brim with cigarette butts. Pick one out of the can. The silhouettes of a tobacco picker adorns the paper filter, the brand Tiu Mutiri. Contemporary Revacholians prefer Druon, a local blend from the Southern Islands, or Astra, the legendary cigarette from Grad. Tiu Mutiri is favoured by older men for its paper filter tips, sweet smell, and added tar. I saw the same brand of cigarettes extinguished in Land's End. Could be a coincidence, or the same person has visited Land's End and looks around and here. I didn't see any signs of smoking inside though. If people live here, they keep it tidy. This here may also be a smoking spot. Inspect the wall. There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you, like a little window. Touch the concrete first. Quite old and grimy from years without cleaning by anything other than the rain. Look through the hole in the concrete. The springs screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your neck to look out. Trepidation. A tingling feeling in your stomach. A small piece of the Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting 1 kilometre across the water. The ruins look familiar. On the left. A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside Apartments. Rue de Saint-Ghislain. See, I remembered Saint-Ghislain. I remembered how it was supposed to be pronounced, thanks to Kim. 33A and 33B on the right. The red chimney and collapsed back of the 4-storey tenement in front of the Whirling in Rags. Rue de Saint-Ghislain 10, the doomed commercial area. And between the two, the box-shaped silhouette of the Whirling in Rags. You see a small fleck of white on the rooftop. The upstairs window of Classia's room in the snow reflecting light. You can read that, right? What does that mean? Do you have line of sight to the window? Yes, there's an opening between 33A and 10. I can see to the roof. I can see it, he nods. Through the scope of a rifle, the shooter would be prone, lying on the mattress, barrel resting on the embrasure. Cheek against the cheek rest. Hand on the hair trigger. On a calm day like this. Kim, I could make it. I could make the shot. This is where the shot came from. Good. He pats you on the back. 3 small pats in a row. I think we have it, Detective. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest. Affirmative. Finally. In our defence, nothing pointed here. Many, many leads pointed elsewhere. You're right. He looks north over the fortification, then at the mattress. Could the shooter still be here? Where? He looks behind his back. On this island. He does not answer, just nods. With his back hunched, he looks around once more time and says, he feels uncomfortable suddenly. We should move, now. Turn away. Pyong! And a bullet ricochets off the concrete behind us. So, we've found that. We need to find... I mean, that was worth coming out that door for, right? Another task ticked off. We need to find the gun. We should be running out of tasks now. Find the murder weapon and explore those secret passages. That's what we've got. There'll be more to do here, I'm sure. Oh, I feel like things are getting close. Let's see. What's my skills like? Oh my god, we've got 4 points. What do we put all this in? Perception, reaction speed might be good. These are getting... What does composure do, by the way? Does it say? Click on it. Straighten your back, keep your poker face. Composure might be really good. Half light. These are my weaker ones. Shivers. Tune into the city. I'm going to level that one up. I'm going to go half light. Let the body take control and threaten people. And I'm going to go pain threshold. Shrug off the pain. They'll have to hit. I'm going to level that one up because... Okay, let's apply those. I've got 1 point. I don't need to be brilliant in every single thing, but I do want a few points in useful stuff. Actually, we'll quick save there so I don't load it in and forget to spend those points again. Okay, so this is a tunnel. This looks like it's collapsed, though. Oh, no, actually, it leads outside, right? It did look collapsed. I feel like we might have a close encounter of the uncomfortable kind coming up here. What have we got out here to look at? We've got a clue. What's going on? Small white flowers blossom all around you. Small white flowers. Classia dropped some small white flowers from the roof of the Whirling in Rags, and I couldn't catch them. A rubber dinghy. It's deflated, broken. Could be anyone who brought that, though. What's that strange hissing noise? Is that supposed to be the wind? Oh my god, there's a guy. There's a guy with a sniper rifle sitting on a log just up here. Gun in hand. How many bullets have I got? Bullets? I've got 1 shot. Not losing... No, I'm... Okay. Let's see what happens here. I think we may have our guy here. The old guy matches the description of a possible cigarette smoker. I mean, it's not necessarily him, so let's be careful with this. An old man wearing tracksuit trousers leans on the framed stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth. Good job I've got my glasses on. And spits it into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours. Unclouded by cataracts, his eyesight is sharp. Are you the fire guy?
What now? I can't hear you.
Cups his ear. Did you recently tell 2 kids to put out their fire? 2 twins?
I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around trying to give up the position.
Trying to give up the position? Is he a madman? The position? Sounds like a hiding place.
Fire guy. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't even talk like a grown-up.
Don't know what to make of this guy at all. You've retained your eyesight.
My eyesight, yes. Helps me see all this shit.
A shudder of disgust passes his left side. His right side remains motionless. He had a stroke? Did you close the blast door?
I did. And you opened it. How?
I fueled the generator, then used the console.
I should have burned that console down.
He shakes his head. How did you know I was coming?
Reactionary rock and roll music playing on the water.
Oh, yes. Yes, we didn't cross in silence. I had the ghetto blaster thing.
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM.
It was not reactionary. It was cool.
The fascists were right about rock and roll. It is degenerate, hip, gyrating mental illness music.
Okay, we can kill him now, chat. We can kill him. Nice gun you got there.
It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. Gets the job done.
It doesn't have a scope on it, from the image. Is that a Bell McGrath?
It's a Trigon 446.
It's a 446. It's the right caliber. Southeast Samaran made, exotic. Must be defunct too. No modern rifle manufacturer of that name springs to mind.
A Samaran rifle? How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Xinyao commune. Military aid.
Wait, is this guy like a holdout from the war? A communist who hasn't stopped fighting the war? He's still holding up on this island after 40 years, is it? It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sing. Looking at the rifle, I think. The, what was it, Shin Hao commune?
You heard me. It's good now, like chalk wiped from a board.
His gaze turns inwards. He's right. Almost no one remembers there was the third metastasis of the world revolution in the Safra Empire, extinguished in '06. It's not wiped from the board. I remember it.
They wouldn't like hearing their name coming from your mouth. A damn dog.
Your weapon has stayed true to you. Mine has stayed true to me too. Show him the gun in your hand.
Yes, I bet you killed a lot of people with it, you fascist fuck.
Where's this going?
Have you come to make me one of them?
His grip on the rifle tightens.
We have come to ask you questions, nothing more.
Lieutenant puts his hand on his holster. Owning a rifle isn't a criminal offence, I think.
If you do not comply, we will take you in. Do you understand?
Another spitball lands in the ashes. That's all the answer he gives. The danger levels here are hard to read. One moment is a fire, the next a fire gone out. Which one should I go with? I'm with the police. You can keep the gun, but keep it down. Not one move.
No.
Well, thanks, Kim. I was trying to take this sensibly and carefully. You ask an old soldier who's been holding out for 40 years, fighting the war for 40 years, to just put his gun down. He is not going to agree to it.
Put it down now, sir.
Or you're going to blow my brains out before you question me. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway.
Oh, okay.
It's out of bullets.
I was needlessly worried. Okay, the old man lays the rifle down carelessly, then looks at it lying there. Like an amputated limb in the sand. Pick up the gun lying in the sand. His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire. Inspect it closer. The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm made of walnut. On the butt you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangong. Triangong? 446, made in Shinhao. So as he said, it's Triangong, made in Shinhao. No one said it has to be a Belle McGrath. The lieutenant does not take his eyes off the old man. We were just guessing. From ballistics, it could easily have been a Triangong too. It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanti. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition, and it does. This uses jacketed ammunition, 446. The right type and the right caliber, Lieutenant nods, glancing at the gun. Stow the gun. This old man keeps following your motions with his gaze. His left arm twitches suddenly. Some kind of involuntary response? Something is slightly off with his motorics. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It can be used against him to get a confession in time. Who are you? My name, he looks across the water, then back at you, is Josef Lilianovich. Josef Lilianovich Dross, political commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol. I'm a deserter, a partisan and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender. His eyes turn to the reeds again, dead and dull. The Commune of Revachol? Lieutenant forgets to close his mouth. Do you mean the ICM? You're a holdover from the... Yep, called it, chat. Called it. From the Insular Indian Citizens Militia, the Army of the Revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in '07, trained in the École de Contrôle Aérien, and consigned to emergency defence duties in '08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May the 14th, the commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties. Logic. 51 minus 8 equals 43. You've been on this island for 43 years? No. He looks into the fire. A wisp of smoke rises from somewhere between the charred logs. I've been on other islands too. I was on Resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was on E48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was, he thinks, 22 years ago. Again, you've been hiding here for 43 years? 43 years and 10 months. That's insane. It's not how a human being should live, but I had to. He grimaces, clearly in pain. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw. What have you been doing during all this time? Hiding, fishing, waiting. He looks across the water. Where the afternoon grows late, on Rue de Saint-Guilain, people walk home. Street lights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers. Men, women, children. Street hawks and migrant labourers. The temperature is steady. Altocumulus clouds form above Precinct 41. Always waiting, the old man turns his eyes from the shore and back to you. For what? For her to return. Her who? Girl-child revolution. I come from there, point to the mainland. I can assure you that is not what the people are planning. I am not a fool. He blinks his black eye. I know the material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It'll not come back anymore. However hard I try, whatever I do. You said you deserted your unit. I was just 16 years old, 15 when I was volunteered. I had a lapse of faith, clears his throat, and of courage too. A lapse, well, understood. Yeah, and Harry's been through something similar. Well done. I won't explain it to a minion of capital. You communist scum. I look like an Imperial officer from the Death Star. I can say stuff like that. You rebel scum. What is this place, this island? It's not an island, Dwat. He looks around. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol, and I am its last surviving defender. What's it used for? The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing, against the whole world. You mean the landing, retaken of Revachol? Coalition military called it Operation Death Blow. He winces. I later found out on the radio they called it Death Blow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Kalu alone. First, I'm not one of them. Sure you are, you're RCM. Answer me, who calls an operation against 50 million people Death Blow? Coalition military. Shakes his head and says, Iblis. Iblis? The black-eyed angel. Don't know who that is. How have you survived all this time? How does anyone survive? He looks at his worn running shoes. I steal. Now hold on there. That's a choice. You could have become self-employed. Create the system. You're insane and grotesque. Everyone steals. Vegetables, supplies. It's the life of a dog. He coughs once more, then puts his hand on his belly. How is your health, Mr. Dross? I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot, then passing it in stool too. Don't think he's very well, this guy. He does seem frail, gaunt for his age. More like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer. The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over. I need to die. A droll smile stretches across his mouth. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns. You also have Dramamine. We have Dramamine, another opioid-based painkillers. You must be in pain. A light goes on in his eyes. He smacks his dry lips. I have been running out of that stuff. He had a box of it in that thing. Maybe the fact that he doesn't know about it suggests that he had nothing to do with that little shooting station over there. There's no way he could manage the pain without them. It's safe to say he is addicted to painkillers by now. This is a serious situation. You need to be looked over and we can do it. There's nothing to look over. The triage is in and it's black. Administer morphine. Moribund. You like that Dramamine, don't you? It's the little joys. A crooked smile appears on his face. A dark joke. A sunshiny day. Morphine. How have you coped mentally? I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of... His eyes roll into his skull and back. I don't even know what. Inferno? You notice the lieutenant is about to say something. I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult mentally to live in isolation. Traitors. It's better alone. He nods towards Martinez. I watch the people of the city turn the lights back on. More and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a merry-go-round. It's disgusting. He looks down at his shoes, his face parched from the sun and the wind. There's a wince of pain in there somewhere. How have you concealed yourself all these years? It was hard in the tens. He shakes his head. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. He closed his eyes. Floodlights on the water at night. There were posters, campaigns. We communards still hoped that they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Coal City would turn to dust. He looked south. But Jamrock, Faubourg, even Couronne, and Boogie Street, of course. Those kips had Mazov coursing through their veins. And others too. Oh, they had Mazov coursing through their veins, sorry. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol were still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. He shakes his head. Soon they all went silent. The frequencies dead. How did you get between here and the mainland? At night I used a dinghy. He nods towards a deflated tyre in the reeds. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot. Commons too. They'd start snitching. In the city you move underground? From bunker to bunker, he nods. Not anymore. No one cares now. I even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. He falls silent, his gaze fixed on the shacks huddled together across the water. The weapons cache under Saint-Guelaine 22B, in the basement. Have you been there? He looks at you, then pulls the raincoat tighter around his neck. So you finally found it. Must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Belle McGrath's, right? They were. Useless now. Rusted away. So you've been there? Sleeping, he coughs. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraths were shit even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however. You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across. Why don't you just walk there? I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals. There's a small bunker under the Feld building. Have you stayed there? The propaganda bunker? He coughs. I used to, but not anymore. Propaganda bunker? They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting. Equipment too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys. Killed themselves? A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. He stares at the ruins of the Feld building. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins on the ground. One more question. Do you smoke Tiumutiri cigarettes? I do, he coughs. Ever smoke them on the mainland? Point to Land's End. They're good, he nods. Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack too. Reminds me of the last century. Tell me another thing. The old man looks across the water at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it. You said this is your termless surrender. You're with the RCM. He waves in your general direction. A coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol. That's right, we're the good guys. We enforce the law. We keep these animals from killing each other. Yeah, that's what we're with. He stares at the embers, then into your eyes. You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, Le Parti Communiste de Insulinda. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity. His hand shakes and he breaks into a coughing fit. A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit. So you're a communist soldier from the communist army? No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army. But you said you were trained and assigned to the Defence Corps. Trained, he nods, in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something. And what does a political commissar do? The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks on at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs. Lieutenant speaks softly. His job was to control the army answers to civilian control. Let me just read that again. His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follow the ideology of the commune. Sometimes there's that many words, just my mind just blanks them out. Scientific communism. The tracksuit-clad old man is suddenly reanimated. A commissaire politique is a naval officer. I am failing badly in English at this moment. Let me just have a drink and we'll reassess this bit. Right. Scientific communism. The tracksuit-clad old man is suddenly reanimated. A commissaire politique is a knight philosopher of the revolution, a future human. Awakened from shutdown by the promise of ideology. This means you're a trained communist, right? He nods slowly. Another tremor. Say nothing. I'm staying neutral on the politics front on this. He looks away to the sea and lets out a cough. I have another serious question for you. There is nothing serious in this world. He looks at the gun in your hand. It's a farce. What have you been using this gun for? I've used it for killing people. Here we go. Trail of blood. Lieutenant smells it too. I don't think this is our guy. I think it's too obvious. I don't think this is our guy. Killing people? It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property? I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people. Interesting. Lieutenant nods. During or after the war? There is no after the war. He shakes his head and smiles. His teeth rotten black. Class war is never over. So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. This is it. You can feel it. Like battery acid on the tip of your tongue. Something you haven't felt in a while, but what? This is what you live for. This is the shit. The great serotonin jackpot. The solution. I don't know that it is. I don't know. I hope this isn't the solution. Going straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No, be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal. So you're saying you killed people after active fighting stopped? What did I just say? He keeps shaking his head, erratically suddenly. He brushes something out of his eye. What did I just tell you? Don't drop the ball now. I don't want to... Do I just come out and ask? I know you want to tell me. Have you killed anyone with that gun in the last week or two? I don't want to tell you anything, you grotesque murderer. And why did you think that was a good idea? Don't listen to me. I'm wrong. Oh, it's okay. Thanks, suggestion. Did you use that gun to shoot and kill a colonel of the security contractor Crinell? The who now? He leans in and cups his ear. He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it again. This is dramatic flair on his part. Right choice. We're in. Do it, sire. The fascist death squad who took a bullet in the mouth on the night of March the 4th. Oh yes, that one. He looks up at the sky and clacks his tongue. Ugly piece of work, that boy. Did you kill him? The lieutenant takes a sudden step towards him. Extract a confession from the deserter. That's a task. Have you seen the gun? The gun was knackered and it didn't have a scope. Well, let's see where this goes. I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revershol. He spits a big one at the lieutenant's feet. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime. Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession. The gun, the murder weapon, is the perfect opener. The scent of blood in the air, but what else? There was something you can't remember. We've done the ballistics. Point to the tower. The shot came from this island. I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead... Fascists? I don't know. A jitter passes him. Did you like the view? You had direct visibility. There were embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top faller to use, and you had a long-range rifle in your possession. Lieutenant softens his voice. You've been here a long time, Mr. Dross. Too long. You clearly need medical aid. I'm ready to die. The man interrupts him, then coughs. I've done my part. He's practically admitting to it. Dead. Fascist for fascist. Done his part. Just one thing remains unclear. The rifle does not seem to have a scope. Yes, I've been saying this. Okay. One thing. Where's the scope? How did you make the shot without a scope? We have everything else. Forget about your stupid scope. I don't know where it is. Find it yourself. It's your problem now. He lost it. He just doesn't know where it is. Forget it. Push on. But he doesn't know where it is. I think he's trying to take the fall for someone else. Someone else took the shot. This guy's clearly about to die. He's going to do the last thing he can, is to protect someone else who may be another communist. He's going to take one for the team. That's what he's doing, I think. You said fascist. As you're admitting you killed him? You're sad for your fascia brother, aren't you? One twig got broken, now the other is sad. He waves his hand. There's a twitch, then one more in his right eye. Come on. What am I forgetting? Hit yourself on the side of the head. Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Classia's roof. Oh, yes, I remembered them earlier. There were Maybells in the grass when you got here, and Maybells on Classia's balcony. Maybells. Behind the victim's window. I saw them growing here. Point to them. Damn Maybells. He looks at the blossoming field. The whole island is turning white with them. Is Classia his daughter? Something to him? So many this year too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away. I haven't seen... Hang on. A young woman called Classia. Ring any bells? Flowers like these were behind her window. Oh, I don't want to continue yet. I haven't seen these flowers anywhere else in Martinaise. Only here. They blossom on the islets before. We fertilised them with our blood. He looks to the water. Resurrection was snow white in May before they ruined it. South, the Bay of Martinaise is dotted with little white frecklets of islets, turning green with white flowers in white snow. The coast too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with. A young woman called Classia. Ring any bells? Classia. You know her, right? She had intimate relations with the victim, the mercenary. With the victim. He turns his sight from the whitening field of flowers and falls silent. Then the muscles in his jaw twitch, a spasm. There's a small tremble, looks like a smile, a crooked smile. It isn't quite voluntary. He's about to burst. I don't need your cooperation. I've got this. Show him the rifle. Heh. Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there? It's a real gun. Points to your sidearm. Not like your little musketeer pistol. I've seen you prance around with that. Jumping hoops for the Liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? He chortles. Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns? Of course you got those boys killed. Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. He would have had a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. Yeah, but it's a kilometre away. He's had to have some visual aid. I mean, 1,000 metres is a long way to pick out any sort of details, in particular what type of weapons were in use. So he saw you. Okay, so what? Don't let it divert you. We saved a lot of them. Their leader, Titus. We handled that situation. Hang on, let's stop changing the subject. We have the murder weapon. You know what? Lieutenant looks at the weapon demonstratively. You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it? Dramatically ask. You think we have the murder weapon? 446 jacketed ammunition, modified for range, he lists. We have it. This is it. Well, that's the only option I've got. Without a scope on, that gun did not make that shot. I'm calling it. We have the murder weapon. That's the task completed. We found it. Kim. Good. Lieutenant takes out his notebook and draws a single line. This feels good, doesn't it? Tying things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer. Murder. The old man does not say more. He just glances into the reeds and then twitches once more. He suddenly jerks to life. You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer, armoured and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer, dripping with blood. He was a soldier too. He was a man.